Hey, if you're watching this, it's because you inspire to create a short film. So follow along with my journey as I produce my first short film ever. So I'm sure many of you have the same question. Where do I start? How do I begin? What does making a short film look like? What do I need? What do I not need when going through that journey? And so I want to give you guys some answers, solutions, and I want to be able to kind of let you see what I'm doing as I'm walking that out currently, because a week from tomorrow, I will be directing my first short film. And so by no means am I going to have all the answers. I may say some stuff that maybe other people don't agree with, but I want to let you guys see on the inside, behind the scenes, the journey of me currently going through it. Okay, the first step, I think, when making your first short film, regardless of whatever title position you are, is documentation. Man, you need to have good pre-pro docs. That's something I'm walking through right now, making this one and learning and writing and trying to figure out which ones I do and don't need. Obviously that varies on the size of your project, but good documentation will take you so much further in a project than it will from just not having enough of it. It's things like call sheets, crew lists, storyboards, scripts, shot lists, shot decks, mood boards, makeup mood boards. I mean, there's a lot of different things that go into play based on how big you're doing a project. But a lot of those things is meant to help alleviate questions or cast vision. I think a big one that filmmakers or creatives miss is we have a lot of vision, but it's like, how do I share that vision? How do I cast vision for the project? And your pre-production documentation is one way to do that. So I actually want to help you guys out with this because I wanted to get you guys started on the right track when making your own short film. And so in the description of this video, I will be putting together a Google Drive with a lot of the documents that I've been working on for a production, from things like call sheets to crew lists to storyboard, shot decks, the whole 9 yards. I want to give you guys a folder of something fun to play with and get inspired to write your first short film with having the proper pre-production documentation. So I want to give that away to you guys. So go check it out at the end of this video, download it, have some fun with it. Next up on the list for me is my crew. This can be a little out of order probably for other people, but for me, priority on my project was getting my crew picked out. I'm a firm believer in people make production. And so having the right people on your set is a big deal. And you'll oftentimes figure out that a lot of that pre-production documentation kind of tells you what you'll need as a crew on production, but man, people do make production. And so having the right people is a priority. And I want to reiterate that a lot of times people will go into making a short film and their first thing they want to talk about is, what is my budget? What money do I have to work with? And I had a good friend teach me a while ago, it's not about your budget, it's about what do you need? What do you need to make this production meet the vision that you have for it? And so don't think of crew as in like, what can I afford? Think of a crew as in, what do I need? Do I need that guy who I can trust to handle all the gaffing, or am I just gonna need somebody who I know owns a C-stand? What do I need? Do I need the guy who has all the gear? Do I need the guy who has one piece of gear? Do I need the guy who's hungry to grow? He may not be in the role he wants to be, but you know what? I'm gonna give him that chance because he's hungry and I know he's gonna give me 110%. What is my need? And so find your needs and find the people that fulfill those needs, and then start walking out, getting your crew. Okay, so you got your documents getting set. You got your crew getting assembled. Number 3 on my list is location scouting. You obviously will have a storyboard, hopefully getting built by now, if not pretty much close to being finished. And so your next step is to figure out, where can I make this project? Where is my creative vision matched perfectly for location in order for me to tell this story? I actually just got finished doing a location scout with my gaffer on this project that I'm directing, and it was a huge help for us to be able to see, put boots on the ground, and see where we're wanting to shoot. Quick tip on location scouting, definitely bring people on your production who are going to have the vision. So your producer, director, even a gaffer, lighting person, director, those are all people who see the vision of the film. And so let them get boots on the ground and see the vision of where it's gonna be. The last thing I'll say on location scouting is, man, you go ahead and utilize those apps. I'll link those apps in the description on what we use for finding where the sun sets and finding the angles of lenses and cameras that we use. Basically, when you location scout, this is a good chance for you to actually mock shoot your film. We were getting angles on certain lenses and the camera that we were using and finding out where we wanted camera to be, where camera was going to move. Within that app, you can actually change out those lenses and physically take a photo or record that scene or that frame or that shot on your storyboard, and then you can actually throw that into Premiere or wherever you're editing and go recreate your film and to find out, hey, do I need to lengthen this shot? Do I need to add more there? How much is my score going to cover a lot of this? And so your location scout is not just to look at the location, it's actually to map out and to kind of like get a better understanding of what is my film going to look like, because we're literally going to try it on the location scout. Next up at number 4 on my list is set a date. I think one of the biggest things creatives struggle with, whether you're a filmmaker, a director, or producer, is actually just getting it done. I know this is something I struggled with in previous years, where I had so many ideas in my head or I put on paper for short films or concepts or commercials or things that I want to do, and they would just get stuck there wanting to do. It would never get done. And so setting a date was my first thing in this year of stepping out and saying, you know what, I'm gonna do stuff. I'm actually going to do the things I say I wanna do. And it was an act of faith by putting a date on it. You know, the phrase of I put a ring on it. Well, man, in production, I put a date on it. I said, you know what, by this date, we are shooting a short film. I don't care what it takes. If I don't have everything together or if I have it all together, I'm just gonna do it. And so number 4 on my list is set a date and go out and get it done. And last but not least, tip number 5 when making your first short film is to delegate your workload. Man, there's a reason why we built a crew list. There's a reason why there's so many roles that can be given on a production set. It's not because everybody wants work, it's because there's that much work needed to be done in order to make great work. What I mean by that is, man, if you're a director, have an AD, have somebody to help you with the logistics while you can focus more on maybe the creative side of things. Or if you're a producer, have a co-producer, because there's so much that you're doing, you need help. The reason for this is because, man, I used to do things alone, and it was a lot of fun because I could have control over everything, but in having control over everything, I ended up losing little things. And what I mean by that is, like, I would nail the creative concept of the entire project or the vision or the story, but little things would fall between the cracks. It not necessarily would hinder the client, but it would hinder my storytelling. It would be like, man, I needed that extra little shot, or you know what I should have done? I should have had like that lighting, just an extra lighter. Let me dim it 5% more, or let me touch that scene up a little bit different. The shot would be amazing, but it could have been so much better if I would have not been trying to do X, Y, Z, and I could have just focused on X. There's, like I said, delegate your work, let other people do other stuff that they're equipped to do, or equip them to do it, and then you focus on the one thing that'll make that one thing excellent, and trust that they're gonna do the exact same thing. And hey, now we are at your production day. Obviously, there's so much more that goes into a production, but man, these are my top 5 tips for you to go ahead and start creating as a filmmaker your first short film. Hopefully you started doing some of your pre-pro docs. You have started building, or at least thinking of people you want on your crew. You can location scout after that if you're not already have. You can keep yourself accountable, pick a date, man, put it on the calendar and delegate your work so you can be excellent at the specific thing that you're wanting to do. If you've really enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe. It helps. My heart is to get other filmmakers in the world started on making their short films, young creatives, to go ahead and tell the stories that need to be told. Feel free to drop a comment in the description of questions that you may have, or things regarding other stuff that goes on in production, because there's so much more that goes on in pre-pro than just what I've listed. And hopefully we can talk about actual production day and then post-production work on a future video. So love you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.